His name was Elijah Eli Reed. Born in 1965 in a poor trailer park on the outskirts of Asheville, North Carolina. His father left when the boy was 6. His mother worked 2 jobs, cleaning motel rooms by day and sorting tobacco at a factory by night. From childhood, Eli could fix anything that broke: neighbors' bicycles, old radios, pickup truck engines. By 19, he was already a decent self-taught mechanic, but the work was only enough for beer and rent. In October 1984, they arrested him. Armed robbery of a gas station on Highway 70. The murder of the owner, 62-year-old Mr. Chan, a Vietnamese war veteran, shot point blank. They found the pistol in the trunk of his 1978 Ford. Eli swore the truck had been stolen a week earlier. He had even filed a police report, but no one listened. Evidence was thin, just the signed confession. The interrogations lasted 3 days without sleep. A windowless room, a lamp glaring overhead, detectives taking turns. One hit him in the ribs with a phone book. Bruises barely showed. Another turned off the lights and whispered, "You don't want your mama to lose her jobs, do you? Sign it, and it's over." By the 3rd day, Eli could no longer tell day from night. He signed the paper with a trembling hand, without reading it. There were no video cameras in the Asheville department back in 1984. The trial in 1985 lasted 4 days. The jury, mostly middle-aged white men, looked at the confession, heard 2 witnesses who saw someone who looked like him, and delivered the verdict: life without parole. Eli was sent to Central Prison in Raleigh. There he barely spoke. He read everything he could get: worn-out detective novels, the Bible, old issues of Outdoor Life and Field and Stream. He found Walden by Henry David Thoreau in the prison library, read it 10 times. Then articles about people who disappeared into the wilderness forever. He practiced, tying knots with threads pulled from his prison uniform, memorizing edible plants from black and white photos, counting days until the next guard shift. The escape happened on the night of September 12th, 1993. He was 28. A sewage repair job had left a hole in the outer wall. Ventilation shaft, down the drain pipe, across a cornfield. He ran all night until his legs felt like lead. By morning, he was 30 miles away. It took another week to reach the foothills of the Blue Ridge. Hiding in truck beds, walking at night, eating whatever he found on roadsides. The first winter of 1993 to 1994 almost killed him. He found a half-collapsed hunting shack near Chabaco Ridge in Pisgah National Forest. He moved the salvageable parts deeper into a hidden hollow, a place where even sunlight barely reached. It took 3 weeks to build a shelter: frame of young pines, walls of branches and moss, roof of bark and tarp stolen from an abandoned campsite. The floor, 30 centimeters of pine needles, topped with old newspapers and a torn sleeping bag he pulled from trash. He lit fires only during the day, small, in a Dakota-style pit, one hole for air, another for smoke that dispersed high in the canopy. At night, he slept in total darkness, wrapped in tarp, listening to the wind move through the trees. Food was a constant battle. Snares for rabbits, wire from old fences, loops from parachute cord he found on a trail. Squirrels baited with peanut butter from a discarded backpack. Fish in the streams on lures made from tin cans, hooks bent from wire. Summer, buckets of blackberries. He wove a basket from willow shoots, young fern shoots, burdock roots, wild onion. Fall, mushrooms, chanterelles, honey mushrooms, birch boletes. One mistake meant death. He checked everyone from memory. Winter, inner pine bark, bitter but nourishing. Willow bark tea for headaches, sometimes frozen berries preserved under snow. He learned to read the forest, knew when a deer had passed, by broken branches at chest height, when a storm was coming, by the sudden silence of birds, when a black bear was near, by the smell of wet fur and overturned stones. People scared him more than animals. In 1994, the manhunt was intense. Low-flying helicopters, tracking dogs, his photo in the Asheville Citizen-Times under armed and dangerous fugitive. Once a patrol passed within 40 meters. Eli lay in a shallow pit under a pile of leaves, heart pounding so loud he thought they would hear it. He never went near the Appalachian Trail, only side ridges where hikers rarely ventured. By 1996, he looked different. Beard to his chest, hair tangled down to his shoulder blades, skin like old tanned leather, scarred from campfire burns, blackberry thorns, frostbitten fingers. His eyes seemed lighter, or maybe just looked that way, against his dark, weathered face. He whispered to himself to keep his voice from fading. Sometimes he sang old country songs under his breath. Folsom Prison Blues, Ring of Fire. Memories came at night. His mother crying in the courtroom. The girlfriend who left 6 months after the sentence. The smell of gasoline in the garage where he once fixed cars. He no longer felt anger. It had burned out in the first 2 years in the woods. Only emptiness remained. And then, silence. In July 1997, he saved his first person. 19-year-old Travis from Asheville got lost in a thunderstorm, fell into a creek, broke his forearm, lost his backpack with food and map. Eli heard the weak, desperate cries. He pulled the boy out, cleaned the wound with alcohol from a stolen first aid kit, made a splint from branches and willow bark. For 3 days, he carried him on his back. At night, Travis, delirious with pain and fever. Eli said nothing, just laid a hand on his forehead the way his mother once did. When they reached the dirt road, Eli set the boy beside a signpost and vanished into the shadows. Travis told the police about the forest man, tall, silent, with kind eyes. One of the older deputies remembered the face. The search flared up again. Eli moved deeper, across the ridge, closer to the Tennessee line. In 1998, he met a second person, an older woman, about 65, a solo hiker named Marge. She had twisted her ankle falling from a rock. Eli found her by her moans. For 2 days, he fed her broth made from squirrels and herbs, fashioned a crutch from a young pine. He led her out slowly, stopping every half hour. When they reached the parking lot, she tried to hug him. He stepped back. "Thank you, son," she said. He nodded and disappeared. After that, he became more careful, but also softer. He started leaving small signs for the lost. Arrows of stones, stacked branches beside faint trails. By 1999, he found an old notebook from the 1940s in an abandoned miner's shack. He began keeping a diary on scraps of packaging, on the inside of bark, in charcoal. Short entries. March 12th, 1999. Caught 2 rabbits today. 1 got away. The forest teacher sharing. June 5th. Found a nest with eggs. Left them. Life is short enough. November. Snow. Silence so deep you can hear a needle fall. I'm not alone anymore. The forest talks to me. In the spring of 2000, he nearly died. Fever. Coughing blood. Pneumonia from constant dampness. He lay in the shelter for a week, drinking pine needle tea and willow bark, eating only what he could reach. Hallucinations came. His mother, the detectives, Mr. Chan. He thought it was the end. but his body fought back. After that, he knew. Dying alone was worse than prison. In the summer of 2001, he made his choice. First, he went to an old farm on the edge of town, home of Mrs. Ellis, widow of a former ranger. He left a basket on her porch, chanterelle mushrooms, blackberries, a note on torn paper. "Thank you for the silence of the forest. I'm tired of hiding." Then he walked to the same dirt road where he had left Travis years before. He sat on the shoulder, hands folded in his lap, and waited. The sheriff's car arrived in 40 minutes. Eli stood up, raised his hands. When the cuffs clicked shut, he said quietly, "I didn't do what they put me away for, but I'm tired of running." The case review started in the fall of 2001. A lawyer from the Young Innocence Project found old interrogation notes, inconsistencies in testimony, no DNA match. The real killer, a drug addict from the same trailer park, confessed in 2001 after being caught for another murder. Eli's confession was ruled coerced. In April 2002, he walked free, after 8 years in prison and 8 years in the wilderness. The city broke him in a week. Car noise, street lights, crowds, everything pressed on his chest. He went back to the woods, but differently this time. A ranger he knew, Mrs. Ellis's son, helped him lease a tiny cabin on the edge of the national park, all legal and on paper. Eli has lived there since 2002. Sometimes he walks the trails as a volunteer, shows kids how to start a fire without matches, how to find water, how not to panic in the forest. Locals call him Uncle Eli from the mountains, or simply the one who came back. In the evenings, he sits by a campfire, no longer hiding the smoke. He looks at the stars, thinks about his mother, who died in 1998 without seeing the truth, about the forest that saved him when no one else could. The forest is silent, but in that silence there is no longer fear, only home.